What we want is what India wants. Namaskaram, Namaskaram. Today I have my dearest brother. I don't call Yogacharya, Doctor, Ananda, Balayogi, ABCD and all that is useless. My Guru keeps saying, I am from Himalayan tradition, Swami Rama's disciple. He keeps saying, I am not a Yogacharya, I did not start learning, he says. More important is being human, being social. What I found is we have had only very few minutes of interaction on 2 sessions, myself and my brother. But that, I don't know, somewhere there is a frequency. We enjoyed the day we met with a lot of music. Life is full of music, I keep saying. Maybe if spirituality is a religion, yoga could be the prayer, and music could be the ragatala bhavam added to that to make it more suitable to enjoy. And that is why we have a person who is human, who is social, who is yogi. Earlier, traditionally, we had a Raja Yogi. But Raja Yogi used to use weapons to fight. But then you go to higher level, you need only a dand, the voice stick. Any weapon comes, they will show only then they become Brahma Yogi. So we have in Bharatiya Shastram, we keep all the knowledge in the front, but when we really want to use, weapons are at the back. Prishtajas Shasharam Dhanu, Agradas Chaduro Veda Prishtajas Shasharam Dhanu. So we need everything. We need to know where to cut, where to shoot. We also must be good in giving philosophical reasoning. Therefore, we have a blend of science, blend of modernity, blend of Puratana. That is what is called Chira Puratana. Sanatanam is split into 2. Nitya Nutanam, the ultra modern, and the oldest of the oldest. That is called Chira Puratana. So Sanatanam is equal to Chira Puratanam plus Nitya Nutanam. So we have a combination from Puducherry, Anandashram. Most of the sannyasis and people who have saffron, though they keep the name Anandam, that day my brother was mentioning Anandam, Anandam, Anandam. And most of the songs are also Anandam. I think the rest, maybe how the soul in your body got more and more matured. How did you land up in, or how did you grow in Puducherry? Maybe I am sure there will be a lot of tradition to speak.
Definitely.
We want to hear that from you in brief.
Thank you so much, TPS Anna. Your loving introduction is so beautiful. And it is said that when two souls who know each other from past lifetimes, they come together, they don't have to say any word. Immediately, they connect. And I think that is the type of Atma Bandhu that has been realized the moment we came together. Let me begin by invoking my Guru Parampara. It is said that we are nothing but the grace of the Guru. So seeking the grace of the Gurus of all the traditions. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोतं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि ॐ तत्परं पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात् ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ॐ Yoga is a timeless science of mindful living with responsibility. When I think of the term Sanatana, it is eternal, it is that which has no beginning, no end. Anadi, Ananta is how Sanatana is. And the word dharma can be translated in many ways. I prefer the word responsibility. So when I look at Sanatana Dharma, I think of it as the eternal, timeless culture of responsibility. Responsibility for our body, responsibility for our emotions, responsibility for our mind, our society, and ultimately for that Atma that is dwelling and experiencing through us. Yoga begins the moment we start to take responsibility for our life. Till then, we may be doing yoga, but we are not yoga. I always tell people, you cannot really do yoga. Because yoga is every moment mindful living. So then you cannot say, I do 20 minutes of yoga per day. It has to be 24 hours, 365 days a year, from 0 to end, whatever that end will be for our lifetime. Every moment is a moment of opportunity to grow. And people ask me, they say, Dr. Ananda, can you talk to us about your life before yoga and after yoga? I say, I cannot talk about my life before and after yoga, but maybe I can talk of my life time before yoga and this lifetime. Because for me, I was conceived in yoga. My parents, Swami Geetananda Giri and Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, who you see behind me. My father was one of the 5 acknowledged yogis of the past century. Someone who learned from the childhood with his guru, Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu Guru Maharaj, who was a Shishya of Swami Vividishananda Bhrigu, a Shishya of Swami Purnananda Bhrigu, and the line goes all the way back to one of the great Sapta Rishis, Bhrigu himself. Maharishi Bhrigu, who has given us Atharva Veda, which is the root source of Tantra. People don't realize, they think Tantra is some new invention. It goes all the way back to the Atharva Veda that deals with the magical powers that are there in mantra. Mantra is a very key aspect of evoking the universal energies. And that is what Tantra is all about. My father grew up in Bihar, Maharajganj, and his guru, Swami Kanakananda, gave him these amazing teachings. And then when my father went in, said, go to the England. We are talking of pre-Independence Day time. My father was born in 1907, so around 1924 we are talking about the time. He went to England, became a medical doctor, served in World War II, the Navy. They say you can take a sailor out of the Navy, but not, I mean, you can take a sailor out of the Navy, but not the Navy out of a sailor. And he always, in his satsangas, every satsanga would have some reference to some episode in the Navy during World War II. And he had a huge tattoo of his ship. We used to joke in those days, the only Swami with a tattoo. Nowadays, everybody has tattoos. He settled abroad, worked in different organizations, and came back to India because his guru had said, my father's name was also ANANDA BALAYOGI. He said, Ananda, after your 54th birthday, because my father wanted to take sannyas like Adi Shankara when he was a child. His guru said, no. When he asked for sannyas, his guru laughed at him. He laughed so much that my father felt very bad about it. He said, I am asking for sannyas and my Guruji is laughing like this. He said, Ananda, you have no idea what your life is for. He said, you have two siddhis. One is that of Vak siddhi. In our parampara, everybody keeps on talking. They never stop. Swami Kanakananda was known as the sleepless saint, Kannoya, mentioned in the autobiography of a yogi by Swami Yogananda, because our tradition is parallel to it. He used to talk weeks on end, non-stop. People would come, listen to him, sleep, get up, go to work, come back, listen to him. He'll keep on talking. My father was like that. His satsangas would go on 5 hours, 6 hours. Students would go to sleep. They learned how to sleep with the eyes open, sitting up. That was the siddhi all our students had to get. Nowadays, I continue also talking. I say I give a 1 hour lecture, it ends up with 2.5, 3 hours. It's very, very tough. When people invite me and say, in 15 minutes, give a talk. Like in 15 minutes, I cannot even say A, B, C, D. There's so much. My father came back to India and his guru had said after the age of 54, he will be known as Swami Geetananda. So he was Swami Geetananda Bhrigu, came to Puducherry, settled down in Puducherry, which has attracted so many siddhas. Our Kambali Swami Madam, where my father came and became part of the Kambali Swami Parampara, is having Kambali Swami as our main guru. And about 150 years ago, he attained Mahasamadhi, Jala Samadhi, and is one of the most important siddhas of Puducherry. He is said to have lived to be to the age 504. Now it is beyond our comprehension. But when we realize time is relative, that is why I love Einstein. Time is relative, and when you realize that, the way we perceive time, what is one day for Brahman is millions of years for us human beings. And as you grow in consciousness, time stops still. The greater you grow in consciousness, it is like instead of having, most people are living in a fast forward mode. You start to live in a slow motion capture mode. Like we see in all the cricket and football games, they break it down frame by frame. You start to live frame by frame. It's called moment by moment mindfulness, being in the now. Moment by moment, each frame goes so slowly. The movie Avengers has a character called Flash. He moves so fast, everybody is standing. There's a scene where everybody is standing and he's gone and rearranged everything in the room and they have not even blinked. Now imagine, take that to the spiritual level. You can be at such a level, people think it is one day you have already gone through, so much has happened. Kambali Swamigal was succeeded by different gurus, Ambalavana Swamigal, then he was succeeded by Manikya Swamigal, Shanmuga Swamigal, Velu Swamigal, Subramanya Swamigal. And my father, when he came to Puducherry, met Subramanya Swami and was in contact with the Kambali Swami Madam. Subramanya Swamigal attained Mahasamadhi, Shankaragiri Swamigal took over. And Shankaragiri Swamigal, he was in his late 70s and he said, I have to manage another place in Karaikal, which is also part of Puducherry. So he said, I have to be there. So Swami Geetananda Giri, I was waiting for you to come. You take over the Madam as Madhadipati. So my father became the 8th Madhadipati of Kambali Swami Madam, fulfilling a prophecy that Kambalignana Desika Swamigal, who was said to be the Ashtanga Yoga Guru of the whole world, Ashtanga Yoga Bhumik Arasagi. DrTPS Anna mentioned Raja Yogi. Aras means the king, the emperor. Ashtanga Yoga Bhumik Arasagi. In our prayer we say, Arumaragalo Brahma Mayamagi. Ashtanga Yoga Bhumik Arasagi. The Ashtanga Yoga Bhumik Arasagi. That is how he was praised 150 years ago when he attained Mahasamadhi. After that, nobody had any Ashtanga Yoga here at all. Tirumula calls it Ashtanga Yoga. It's the Tirumandiram. 3,000 verses. And most people in the yoga, they don't know there is something called Tirumandiram, which has such a treasure trove of yogic knowledge, tantric knowledge, siddha knowledge, the Sayastanta tradition of South India. So my father became part of this, and Swami Geetananda Bhrigu became Swami Geetananda Giri. Now this Giri tradition here at Kambali Swami Madam is traced all the way back to another one of our great rishis, Agastya. Because Agastya is said to have resided at Puducherry, Puducherry, when it was called Vedapuri. Our Shiva temple here is Vedapuri Ishwaran. Later on, somebody called it Pondicherry, Puducherry. The French came and they P-O-U-D. And if you write it with, cursive writing, P-O-U-D, looks like P-O-N-D. And so, Puducherry, P-O-U-D, a French spelling of Pudu, P-O-U-D, became Pondicherry, and everybody started calling it Pondicherry. That has no meaning at all. Puducherry, a new settlement. Pondicherry has no meaning at all. And my friends in school, I studied in Gandhi Vidyashram in Kodaikanal, where still some of the culture was kept in us. They used to tease me, is it a cherry in the pond? Pondicherry, is it a cherry in the pond? Because it has no meaning. So when it has no meaning, you have to create an artificial meaning. So, Vedapuri, it is said Agastya came here, and we often say the legend of Agastya drinking the ocean happened at the Bay of Bengal here. This is the traditional teaching. Now in modern times you find people say, oh, that is mythology, it is not history. And we have to understand, when we want to understand what India needs today, we need to reframe our paradigm through which we are looking at in culture. We cannot have either mythology or history. We need to have a combination called mythological history and historical mythology. If you create that new perspective, there will not be an issue. There will not be an issue. The issue is coming because we want it either to fit into history or mythology. I think someone says there's an echo. Maybe a mic will adjust. We'll adjust this. Always happens. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So we need to reframe our perspective. So did Agastya come to Pul? Yes. Did he drink the ocean? Well, we don't know. Because a lot of siddhis have been displayed by our great siddhas. We cannot believe it because we cannot believe someone drinking the ocean. So we say it's impossible. This is where the issues come, that we try to segregate history or mythology. Now the greatest thought I have always kept from my childhood from Indian culture is iti iti. Iti iti means this is and that is also true. And I say, you can also be right, I can also be right at the same time. There is no need that if you are right, I am wrong, and if I am right, you are wrong. You don't need this dichotomy, the plurality, Because both of us can be right at the same time, and to continue that a bit further, both of us can be wrong at the same time. You know, they say great minds think alike and fools seldom differ. You know, it's that same type of issue here. Iti. And if we start to understand historical mythology and mythological history, we will never have an issue with our cultural ethos. And we need to rethink this. We need to change our perspective. A perspective which is panoramic and not microscopic. We have become a microscopic perspective-laden society in the name of modern education. It makes us analytical, but it doesn't allow us to see the bigger picture. The left brain looks at the analytical, logical aspects. The right brain can see the bigger picture. And we need to have left and right brain working harmoniously. This is why in yoga we teach alternate nostril breathing. Left nostril influences right brain, right nostril, left brain, and you do alternate nostril breathing and you become a balanced human being. We need to be balanced, not left brain dominant or right brain dominant. One of my mentors, John Mumford, used to say, when you are completely in your left brain, there's nothing right about it. When you are completely in your left brain, there's nothing right about it. When you are completely in your right brain, there may not be anything left. It is a beautiful statement. Because when you're completely in the left, modern education, modern society, left brains, it is logical, calculating, and hence it is stressful. The right brain is where you look at the bigger picture and you realize this too shall pass. In that moment where you realize, we know it intellectually, but we don't feel it. Our head knows it, our heart doesn't know it. And so we have to be able to say, take a step back and look at the big picture. So Agastya Rishi on one side, Rigu Maharishi on the other side, and it comes together in my father as a Madhadapati at Sri Kamali Swami Madam. And I was born into this wonderful couple. Ammaji, who came from the Midwest America, and she grew up Minnesota, Minneapolis, very close to where Swami Veda Bharati used to be. And in fact, last year I had the privilege of addressing the meditation group that was founded by Swami Veda. And through Stomaji, my beloved Stomaji, I got that opportunity to address them and get in contact with Susi and others. A very, very beautiful opportunity to connect with a very heartful living tradition. One of the rare living traditions of yoga today. Authentic living traditions. It is very rare. We have a lot of plastic yoga. We don't have platinum yoga much these days. We have plastic yoga, use and throw versions, polluting the ecological environment. Use and throw yoga, plastic yoga pollutes the external and internal environment. We need platinum yoga, authentic living traditions. The Himalayan tradition is one of them. And that is why immediately TPS Anna and I, we hit off. Immediately we hit off because you connect with the source. If we were, either one of us was from a plastic tradition, we would not connect. Because plastic and plastic doesn't connect. Platinum and platinum connects very well. We have to understand the chemistry. The chemistry is very important. Coming back, Ammaji came from the USA. She traveled through Europe, wanted to find herself and came to Puducherry, and before that she came to India, and she came overland to India. In those days, from Greece and to Afghanistan and all of that, they used to travel overland. She said, the day I set foot on Indian soil, I knew I'd come home. That was her feeling. Traveled down to Puducherry, met my father, and at the end of the 6-month course at Guru Dakshina, there was a big basket, and everybody would put their offering into that basket. Amma went and sat in the basket. She said, I offer myself completely to my Guru. And hence came together one of the greatest teams of the past 100 years in the field of yoga. A dynamic team of Shiva and Shakti coming together, Purusha and Prakriti coming together. My father, of my mother, she's an amazing writer. Her history of yoga is one of the most authentic descriptions of the whole history from an experienced yogic perspective, not historian, yogic perspective. And it's 3 volumes, which is just amazing. She used to call my father Vishwamitra incarnate. And that is why when you said Raja Rishi and Brahmadanda, I was reminding myself of Vishwamitra and Vashishta and all their throwing missiles at each other and using the Yoga Danda to ward it off. There's a beautiful image in Amar Chitra Katha with Vishwamitra and Vashishta holding the Yoga Danda up and the missiles traveling by Anand Pai, Uncle Pai. Beautiful imagery. She used to say my father was Vishwamitra incarnate. He was a Mitra of the whole universe. He loved everyone. He used to say, I can love everyone, but I may not like everyone, but I love everyone. He had unparalleled love for the whole universe. He was a Vishwamitra with quite a temper also. Vishwamitra temper was also there. And I often say my father was Vishwamitra and Ammaji was Menaka because she used to dance also. She came and learned Bharatanatyam after giving birth to me. And Adiyar Lakshman sir, our Natya Guru, used to admire the way, after giving birth to a son, how she took up the Bharatanatyam and trained and bosoms of young people in Puducherry, who today have made a career out of Bharatanatyam, thanks to her efforts. So both of them were already in yoga. Both of them were already immersed in the Indian culture when I was conceived. That is why I say I was conceived in yoga. And this is where planned conception in a conscious manner is very essential to create a proper future. Birth cannot be an accident. And this is why in our culture there was a time, part of one of the Shodasha Samskara is the moment where the couple will come together to produce a child. The moment of conception is one of the Shodasha Samskara. Very difficult in these days to think about this, and people will start to take it off in a different way if you're not careful with these things. I say I was conceived in yoga. The 9 months in my mother's womb, she continued the daily practice of yoga. She was teaching the classes, she was typing for my father as he dictated all his classes and lessons and notes and everything. Even the morning of my birth, 16th April, she did a morning sadhana and she said, Swamiji, I think today is the day. Immediately went to the maternity hospital, St. Joseph of Cluny, run by the nuns, and by noon, I was born. My father takes me out, shows me to the sun and say, share the light with the world. That was the start. Being up in Ananda Ashram, an ashram atmosphere, learning the Vedic chanting from our resident Pandit, initially Subramanya Gurukal, then Mangalanatha Sivacharya, learning the Rudram, Chamakam, Purusha Suktam, starting the morning, early morning, with the Gananam Tva Ganapati Gumhavamahe. You start like that. Namaste astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Triyambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikagnikalaya Kalagni Rudraya Nilakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Shriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Shriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Learning how to chant, learning the Carnatic music, initially with Puduvai Kalaimamani Manikannan sir, then Srirangam Ranganathan sir, learning the Mridangam from initially K.M. Vaidyanathan sir, the father of the very famous Vainika Vidwan Rajesh Vaidya. His father was my first Mridangam guru. Then T.R. Krishnamurti sir, Guru and uncle of Bhaktavatsalam Mama, the very great Mridanga Vidwan. Then traveling with my mother to Adiyar K. Lakshman sir, where I learned the Natyam, the Natuvangam, who has inspired me to become a dance choreographer and hundreds of compositions. I write the lyrics, I compose the music, Then my wife and I, Devasena and I, we choreographed the dance and we put it on. And this is how the culture was grown. Playing in trees, running around with the kids, speaking Tamil, which is why for me my mother tongue is Tamil. I think in Tamil. I have to translate it into English and then speak. Because Tamil is right in the root of the consciousness. Then there came a time I was 13. And then my parents said, we better get an official education. Because this world needs an official education. I had not gone to school. I was learning all of this. My mother gave me English lessons. Now my father's students, Renu Kakka, taught me mathematics. Gave me that love for maths that today continues to go into the field of what we call yantra in our tradition. That is based on understanding the universe through mathematics. And I had a Tamil teacher teaching me Shashti Ainoka Sharavana Bhavana Andha Shashti Kavasam. Manikandan sir teaching me Jnana Vinayagani Sharanam Nallavane Matrallam Vallavane Varuga Shri Jnana Vinayagane Sharanam. Then going on with all of this, I lived with animals. We had monkeys, we had deer, we had peacocks, we had geese. I had pet duck, I had a pet mongoose, I had a pet fox. Understood what life is, the value of life, not just human life. All life is precious. And I often say all life is precious to a pure heart. All life is precious to a pure heart, and I realized that. Then went to school.
Dr. ANANDA BALAYOGI BHAVANANI, your story keep on telling people feel so sad that they didn't had these opportunities, and it can only give lot of envy, not lot of admiration or love. Because all of them don't have the heart to love. Most of these generation are taught how to keep ego, how to be more selfish. So one lesson what probably we should derive for the India, not the progress, not development, not being selfish. How do we inculcate this happiness in all the difficulties around? How do we become more satisfied in an unsatisfied situation?
Absolutely, a very beautiful question. You see, what we have tried, Yam Petra Inbam Perga Ibbayagam, it is said. What you have experienced should be shared with the world. And this is why my parents, right from the beginning, they put me in a situation to interact with other children, and they created opportunities for children to have our culture in the same way I got it. I was not treated differently. The kids were not treated differently. And hence, a Kamble Swami Fine Arts program was started in 1975. And this continued, giving the young children, irrespective of their socio-economic status, anybody who wished was given free education in yoga, Bharatanatyam, Carnatic music, with free food, learning how to swim in the big ashram swimming pool under the Shiva Shakti. So I grew up with this, and Yoganjali Natyalayam is where we work with the young children. How do we work with them? The first lesson, don't compare yourself with anybody else. The first lesson that the young children need to have is don't compare yourself with anybody else, because each and every one of us is a unique specimen of humanity. So there is no second version of you. You are not a second version of anybody else. Then how can you compare anything with anybody else? Because comparison is the thief of joy. The moment you start comparing, someone gives you a job and they say, I'll pay you 80,000 per month. You feel very happy. 80,000 per month, very nice. And you go to work and you are on cloud 29. You're floating. You go to work and you're like, wow, what a great day, 80,000 per month. Wow, wow, wow. And over morning coffee, you talk to your colleague and you find they are being paid 85,000 per month. Gone. Your balloon has got tricked. Suddenly, this world is the worst place to be. My job is the worst job. I am no good. My parents are no good. Blame it on my parents, blame it on my education, blame it on society, and suddenly you go into deep depression. Forgetting that, as you came to work, you were on cloud 29 because you were getting what you thought you were valued for. But the moment you found somebody else in the same job is getting 5,000 more, suddenly all of it has gone forgotten. What we need to understand is the universe knows what we need to get. We will get what we need, not what we want. I think the biggest message I give the young children, I work with 40,000 children, and they come from the age of 5, and many of them continue. Today they are professionals and they continue being with me because I was looking at all the wonderful camps you conduct. We have so many camps for the children here. The first time they see a morning sunrise is in the ICYR ashram camp, where they come, they go to the beach on the morning and they see the sunrise, and I say, have you ever seen it? They say no. Take them into nature. So the first message we give our children, don't compare, because you are a unique specimen of humanity. You are a unique version. You are a unique version of the divine in human form. You are a unique version of the divine in human form. You have been put here to learn certain lessons. Your lessons are different than somebody else's lessons. You know, what we do is we have, in our Yogasana competitions, we have a theory element. So we'll give these multiple choice questions and you have 300, 400 kids all sitting next to each other writing it. Now they don't know I have made 5 variations of the same question paper. So it's the same 25 questions, but there are 5 variations of randomization. And I have a special mark someplace that I know which variation this question paper is. And always the kids are looking at the next person's question paper and 1A, 2C, 3D. And I say, don't do it. Because you don't have the same question paper as they have. If you write it, and even if you write it totally wrong, inky, pinky, ponky, father had a donkey, you will still get 5 out of 50. You will still get 5 out of 50 by some mathematical, statistical probability. But if you copy somebody else, you will end up with 0. The only time you will get 0 in an exam is when you copy somebody else's paper. There is a Mr. Bean comedy on this where he copies somebody else's paper and it's a totally different subject. Your life is your syllabus. You have a separate syllabus by the universe for you. You have a separate exam paper for you. Why are you worried about what questions are asked for somebody else? Why are you worried about somebody else's syllabus? This is what Lord Krishna calls Swadharma in the Bhagavad Gita. Your Swadharma is for what you are born. Whether it is high, low, what you think of it, whether you like it or not, it is what you are born for. Try to fulfill it. In fulfilling your Swadharma, you will attain what Abraham Maslow called self-actualization, and then progress beyond that to what our rishis have called self-realization. Where Atma Darshana, Yogyatvam.
Is it true that every self is identified as a self, even when their parents also suggest to them this is what you are supposed to do? We generally don't understand the self, and the uniqueness is not individual. It is a family for most of the people as, yeah, my family. Therefore, the parents have got to write the script for the children. Yesterday also I had a difficult problem in convincing the parents. It is not that you are supposed to write the script for your children. Let them write their own script. Is it not that freedom which Indian is not enjoying today, because we call it as social boundedness, family bondage, we have got lot of things, I have to take care of my children. That feeling is more like a bondage than a freedom. Is it that we have to break? Is it that one of the messages of Mahabharata, because the cousins were all together, but within the family they have their own freedom to think, the share of Bhagavan is also based on one can sit on the leg side and the other can sit on this. Is I can have my own views, you can have your own views, even with the God. But here we keep saying that parampara says you have to be like this. The religion says that we have a bondage. By mistake, if I happen to be a Hindu, I have to be a Hindu. By mistake, if I happen to be a Muslim, I cannot get back to Hinduism. See, one mistake one parampara has done, they convert it into something else. Why not we agree that no, okay, the next generation wanted to come back to this, why not agree? So there are a lot of conflict. Is that conflict which when I was reading your book on yoga conflict, the cultural conflict, I am also thinking we have a lot of religious conflict. We have got a lot of thought conflict. We have got understanding of life itself is full of conflicts. How do we get rid of these conflicts and then see happiness inside? Because conflict is what making us unhappy. We don't know what to do. Internally also, my buddhi says something, my manas says something. That's what you are keeping telling, right? Two H cannot be together. You cannot have a good head and a good heart. Nelson Mandela said. But then how the yoga says we can make it unique and put them together. But with all these parampara and parambarium which we have, still we are Indian, the wellness index, we are poor, much worse than the neighboring country which are all maybe financially poor, development wise poor, market wise poor, but still India is very poor. Why and what can be done?
That's a very, very beautiful question, $1 million question. I think most of the time parents don't have confidence in their children's power of choice. I feel that there is a sense that my child is still a child. My child doesn't know how to choose wisely. I think this is a very deeply ingrained tendency that we have in our country, that my child is still a child, that the parent tends to think of the child as being a child even when the child is 75. I think this is very, very strong in our country. Whereas in most other countries, once you are 18, your parents sort of say, now it's your choice, go out and make your life. I think that kicking out of the family structure, in our country, if you leave your parents' house, people say, why? In the West, if you're still in your parents' house after you're 18, people say, why? I think there's a very different perspective. So it is expected you should take your own choice and be responsible for it. Don't come crying to me. You made the choice, do it. But here, I think this overzealous taking a responsibility for the child, thinking the child who is now an adult doesn't have enough viveka to make the right choice. And again, what I counsel many of the parents along with this, because along with the children will be future parents, so I'm training them now. But the current batch of parents of the children who come to our institution, I counsel them by letting them understand. I say, why are you making a choice? The first answer, commonest answer, sir, the first thing is, what will those 4 people say? What will the society say? I'm like, who are those 4 people? I have never met them. We are always worried about some 4 people who will say something about our choice. Who are those 4 people? God alone knows. But we are always like, what will society say? What will the neighbor say? And I say, that is not important. What does your heart say? What does your heart say? Sir, sir. Let him study what he wants, sir. Engineering medicine, why you are forcing? Sir, financial stability, sir. This is the next excuse. Financial stability. I tell you seriously, the worst investment is to study medicine. The worst investment is to study medicine. The amount of money you have to spend, the amount of your precious life you spend, and then the hard work you have to do, sacrificing your health, And nowadays there's no safety. So you never know who's going to beat you up where, in which OPD. I tell you, the worst financial investment today is medicine. Engineering colleges have started to close down because, again, we have realized that people, earlier after 12th standard, people will choose what to do. Now they first do engineering and then they choose what to do. That has become the new pattern that they have. And again, I tell the parents, I say, why cannot you think this child can go into the fine arts? Sir, sir. I used to ask a question, what do you want? You want your child's happiness? Yes, sir, Venu. Then let them go into it. They will find a way. Sachin Tendulkar is not in it. Often I give examples. Sachin Tendulkar is the first example because it rings a bell for everybody. Because everybody knows Sachin Tendulkar. 10th standard, he had trouble passing. I don't know whether he ever cleared it or not. He had trouble with 10th standard. But today, he is Bharat Ratna. He is a Bharat Ratna not because he became a doctor engineer. He followed his passion. His parents and his elder brother especially allowed him. So I give this example. Take those examples. Again, examples of people. Sir, illa sir, neenga paarenga sir. Avanga engineering padichanga nalla irukkranga. They studied engineering, they are good. They studied medicine. I say, do you know the family life? I know thousands of people. And I bring it up to the parents. I say, what is the key?
One basic question. I think many people come to ashrams, meet Swami, let them be a doctor, let them be an engineer, let them be a rich man, let them be a bureaucrat, politician. Everybody falls on the feet of ashram and Swamijis. Right? But did anybody came to you saying that, hey Swamiji, please bless my son to become another Swami? I'll tell you, I was working with the Ramakrishna Math almost 15 years. When some youth goes and then talks to Swami, I want to join Ramakrishna Math, immediately the parents goes into complaint. They used to refer the parent and the child to me, saying somehow get rid of this person not becoming a Swamiji. So those days, this is the joke which I used to ask. Why did you send him to ashram? Get blessings. To become what? Become the happiest. That's where you ended now. Yeah, so you have seen Swamijis are so happy. Why can't you bless them to become Swamijis? I remember one of the senior most Swamiji in Ramakrishna Math, I asked him a question. He is not a good speaker. So I was asked to ask questions so that he will answer. We had 1,000 children. That was in Northeast, Vivekananda Kendra Vidyalaya. You remember we spoke on the same platform where Didi, that Lakshmi Kumari Amma only referred me there. So I went there. Ramakrishna Math is very famous in Itanagar. They run a big hospital. He runs a good position. But then I asked him one question. He was an engineer, MNC company working in Chennai, left everything and became Swamiji. He was almost 60, 65 or 70 that time. So I asked him a question. If your mother meets you now, what he will tell? Immediately the answer was, stop this drama, change your dress, come back, get married. I want 2 young children, a grandson, granddaughter, so that I will feel happy. I don't think any mother exceptions could be there if your ashram itself is your family. That's why I said Yogacharya, Dr. Anand is a very blessed person. That is not true with most of the Swamijis. At least their parents feel unhappy because, I am so sad. All the, including the greatest Math, Shankaracharya Math Swamijis, there is beautiful Malayalam movie which came, how the parents feel so unhappy and they were sad. Very, very beautiful movie. So how do we make children understand, life is not, I keep saying we would not have got a Shankaracharya, Madhamrata Damayi or anybody you call who are all grabbing attention on the whole nation if they would have been a normal husband and wife, both teachers and government schools finished. Their children will never become anything other than, today it is only engineer. And I keep saying everything is BTech. And once Mahatma Gandhi told, quit India. So all the BTech people are Gandhians. They all quit India soon after India, they get their degree. Right? That is the aim. Only one name, they are all Gandhians. So how do we tell them that we have? No, I have two poetries. Those poetries is what you spoke now. One is millions of sperm from the father get into the mother's egg and only one sperm take birth, and that's me. And we had a great competition to take birth. So by birth itself we have proven that we are one very unique. And we don't have to fight in our life as many people as we fought with our own unborn brothers and sisters. And another poetry is, we all good in writing script for others. I used to sit in Guruvayurappan temple in Delhi, listen what the discussion happens. No spirituality, no religion, nothing. Hey, it should not rain today. So as if they are prescribing what nature has to be tomorrow, no? Not even what Nair has to do, what Menon has to do, what somebody else is supposed to do. They should have left Delhi long back. We are good in writing script for others. That's what I was asking that question from there. What is the solution? We know the problem. What is the solution? Is it only because of our education system? Is it because of the strategy which make in our levels of status which we have? Because everybody cannot do every job because it's not paid well. The social status is different. Correct? We have got dowry system. There are a lot of culture, religious, professional conflicts which is not parallel to each other, right? So how do we make this so that it is not going back to Dwapara Yuga or Krita Yuga, but can we create from this Kali Yuga a little bit, a sample place where we can show that yes, here people are happy. One village we can recreate like that.
This is a very beautiful perspective you have brought out, and we have been able to actually do it with a lot of families. In fact, this has been one of the success stories of our work here, is that the young people have been able to make choices, take the families along most of the time, and today create a situation where they are actually in a very comfortable spot inside. So how we have dealt with this is, we say there is the modern educational system that gives you carbohydrates, proteins and fats. That part of your diet is taken care by the modern education. But vitamins and minerals are missing in modern education, which is where the spiritual education has to be given from the childhood. Now, spiritual doesn't mean religious, because religion then becomes indoctrination, and we have to be careful of that. It is spiritual, meaning you start to connect with your own self. Very, very important relationship. The most important relationship, I think, is how you relate to yourself. Because if you can relate to yourself, the rest of it will fall into place. But if you are not able to relate with yourself, if you have not been trained in it, how can you be trained in it? You have to start young. You have to see people who are your role models. And I was laughing when you said, will anybody come and say, bless my child to become a Swami? I have had a lot of parents come to me and say, sir, all I wish is my child should be like you in the future. And I say that itself is a big compliment. Now later on they may like me, they may not like me, and when it comes true they may or may not like it, because they don't know what I am. They have only seen one side of me. So maybe they may not like what the child becomes. But you start to create a role model for the young people. I think this is a great role we can play, and I know you are doing it with so many young people, that they look up to you and they say, here is a person I would like to be something like him. Initially, there will be a lot of copycat. The children will say, I want to be like him exactly. But then later on, they will realize it's not being like the person, but being yourself like the other has been themselves. Just as DPS is himself, Ananda is himself, the child starts to realize they have to be themselves. And then that comes in. And I have seen this happen. The problem is we are fighting a very, very huge burden. And this huge burden, as you said, quit India, and everybody thought, oh, go to America and make money and become the big person. I still have friends who think I am mad from medical school. They still think I am mad. They say, you were a gold medalist medical student. You did not go abroad to America and become a rich doctor. I'm like, I would have been the unhappiest rich doctor in the whole of North America. Now, I am the happiest Ananda I can be. That is more important. What you are now at ease with yourself. And it is very difficult because people look at the external structure. And yes, the external structure helps you. Today, if people listen to me, part of it will be because there is that MBBS after my name. Definitely, yes, I don't deny it. If they listen to me, it is because I come from a parampara. I don't deny it. But beyond that, can they resonate with Ananda as Ananda, irrespective of him being a medical doctor or the lineage holder of an illustrious parampara? When they can connect to the Ananda as Ananda without all the attachments, then I feel we are being successful. So with the young people, create a role model. Give them situations. In our institute, kids who are 5, they interact with kids who are 18. There is this, it doesn't happen in school. In school, 5-year-old with 5-year-old, 17-year-old with 17-year-old, 15-year-old with 15-year-old, they never relate with others. Here, they relate with the cross connection. So automatically, the elder becomes the elder brother, the sister who starts to care, and there is this beautiful interaction that happens as they grow as a family. Similarly, in our yoga circle, we have people who join the ashram when they are 18 and study yoga. People when they are 65. So my yoga family, international yoga family, has people who are in the early 20s, who are in the late 80s now. And we all have that cross connection. You can see how a life can be well lived through being a noble human being. Not worrying about what is your paycheck. Your paycheck is not you. This is what I like to let the kids understand. Your identity card is not you. It is important. You need a passport to travel. But when you travel, it is not your passport traveling, it is you as a human being traveling. When you have an education, it is not just the degree. It is you who should be educated. Educe means to bring out from within. Can you see in yourself others? And can you see others in yourself? These are the thoughts we put into the children. And I won't say we are totally successful. I won't say it because if I said it, you know the statistics are wrong and they are cooked up. Anybody who says they are 100% successful, statistics are cooked up. We definitely know that from all our research, there will always be the outliers. There will always be the outliers, and statistics is based on a mean, median, and mode. And so we'll always have trouble with statistics. But what difference we have seen over the last 50 years? Children outgrowing the social structure. Children outgrowing even the genetic structure. Now sometimes it is very painful. Sometimes it is very painful because when somebody outgrows the family conditioning, you talked about even our social conditioning, family conditioning, when somebody grows out of it, sometimes it can be very painful. And I have had children in the now youth, 35 years and so, who have asked me, sir, young lady, sir, you have spoiled us by making us have all these thoughts. We cannot be like the rest of the people. We cannot be like the rest of the people who are subhumans in human form. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Jackals in human skin. We cannot be like that. And they say, sir, I say, I don't know what else to do. I said, what matters to me is not whether you are yogi or not, whether you are the best dancer or not. No. Are you a noble human being? If you are a noble human being, you are part of my success story. And this is what
so my introduction, being human being, being social being, is what we established. That's where I started, right? We have few people here who may be, I'm sure, eager to ask few questions. You Google and find out Dr. Anand Bhavanani, you will see lot of lectures, lot of interviews. We have got people joined here today who also interviewed him. Few, I just saw Menon was also here, Mrs. Menon was also here, yeah. I'm sure you will hear that. But today we have some option if you have very specific questions, pinpointed, where probably it is not the avidya, the savidya which is being emphasized. Any quick questions? Anybody could unmute and ask questions. No option for Dr. Shailaja Menon anyway. Anybody? Yeah. Yeah.
Professor Ravi.
Professor Ravi was a principal when I visited his engineering college in Nanded. Yeah.
Namaskar, sir. I am very much thankful to you, sir. And such a way we got the nice inputs. May I ask one question, sir, related? Nowadays, when we go to the social medias, people are emphasizing about the asana. There's some, I don't want to take the names, but they're emphasizing on the asana. Some people are emphasizing on the pranayama, breathing. Some people are meditation point of view. But nobody emphasizes, which you are told about Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama. Why it is not given so much importance in the system? When the childhood, when you are given this type of thing, it would be a wonder thing in our Hindu or we can say Indian system or Sanatana Dharma way. Why we are not giving that importance, the Yama Niyama point of view, sir? This is my question, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Professor Ravi, for that absolutely $1 million, platinum, golden question. You know, I was smiling as you asked it because our tradition emphasizes the Yama Niyama. And in fact, when we work with the children learn in a very beautiful play manner, song manner, dance manner, the importance of the Yama Niyama, because without the Yama Niyama, yoga is dangerous. Without Yama Niyama, yoga is dangerous because asana, pranayama and even dharana, dhyana, it will make you stronger at whatever you are. So if you are already a terrorist, you will become a stronger terrorist. You will not change your nature. But Yama Niyama are enabling us to manifest our social values. I often tell people that Maharishi Patanjali has covered all the 4 domains of health that the World Health Organization talks about. Physical wellness, so physical well-being, mental well-being, social well-being, spiritual well-being. Yama Niyama are for social well-being. If you don't have Yama Niyama, your social wellness quotient will be 0. Asana Pranayama for physical well-being. Now I'm just putting it in a box, they all go across domains, but just for the understanding. Asana Pranayama, physical wellness domain. Pratyahara Dhyana for mental wellness domain. And Dhyana Samadhi for spiritual wellness domain. So if you look at the Ashtanga, you can take them in pairs and say, these go effectively with social well-being, Yama Niyama, physical well-being, Asana Pranayama, mental well-being, Pratyahara Dharana, and spiritual well-being, Dhyana Samadhi. So the foundation, in fact, I have run many courses and I have an e-book on what we call Adhikara Yoga. Adhikara Yoga is Yama Niyama. Because Yama Niyama makes you fit for the higher aspects of yoga without Adhikara, without the foundation. And Maharishi Patanjali says, these are Sarvabhauma Mahavratam. They are universal great vows. And my father used to say, this is the no option yoga of Maharishi Patanjali. You cannot say, I will choose or not choose. He says, you pick and choose. I will follow this but not follow that. during this time I will do it, that time I won't. He says, no, it is no option yoga. So our tradition emphasizes yama niyama. When we work with the children in a very playful manner, giving them examples of what himsa is at their level, in social level. Similarly, what is satya? And how satya can again be a different perspective for different people. In different time, it can be different. And the satya that we feel in society may be different than another society feels. So, giving them this openness rather than putting it in a box. And this is why we work a lot with it. The yama niyama are a foundation of our training. And often you'll find me on social media talking about this, that what the modern yoga is plasticized yoga, the plastic yoga that has no life. The second word I use is jada yoga, dead body yoga, because if the yama niyama is not there and you're only doing the physical asanas, well, it's as good as an anatomical body being put into different positions without any sense in it. So yama niyama are the firm foundation, drida bhumi, on which your sadhana will be built. We emphasize it in the 6-month training in our ashram. The first 4 or 5 months nearly, each of the yama is taken in satsanga by Ammaji, and one whole week will be for one yama, with going into it, understanding it from multiple perspectives, from the scriptures in day-to-day life. And so we are with you 100%. Yama niyama are the foundation, because without yama niyama, yoga will make you a better terrorist, a better thief, a better smuggler. It will not transform you. And if yoga is transformative, so if it does transform, is it yoga? So thank you, sir, for that. And did I hear you say Nanded, is where you did your education together? Nanded.
Actually, he is from Warangal, but he is
Oh my God.
working as a civil engineer, professor, and he became a principal there, and then later again professorship. I was there for 3 days workshop with him. That's what we...
No, I studied in Varda.
Oh,
I studied in Varda, so I used to go to Warangal. So Warangal is very familiar to me. And that's why that area of Vidarbha and Maharashtra is very, very familiar for me.
no, once upon a time, the whole area, Vidarbha, Warangal to Aurangabad.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The partition came only, we have always confusion with the partitions. Any more quick questions? I'm sure there are. Shailaja also can ask. I was just joking, Shailaja ma'am. Dr. Shuchita is there. We have people from Jaipur who are practicing yoga. Lakshmi Prasad is there close to Warangal. Antonio, I am seeing few names. We have young students. Vaishnavi, Hyderabad. Anybody could ask questions. This is the right time to ask questions.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Just like Surya Namaskar has some mantras which we need to recite, are there other yoga practices which also need mantras, but we don't know about it?
That's a very nice question you have asked. It is true that when we do the Surya Namaskar, the 12 names of the sun are used. So it is part of the regular practice. Now, mantra yoga is an essential component of yoga sadhana. And there are different mantras that can be used. And in some of the practices, you will use what are called the Gayatri mantras. But these are primarily in what we call Laya yoga. And when it deals with the chakra, each of the chakra will have its own Gayatri mantra, it will have its own Devata, it will have its own Bija mantra. So especially there it is very useful. Now some of the traditions like the Krishnamacharya tradition of yoga, they bring a lot of the mantric chanting even into the asana practice. So there are traditions, the Krishnamacharya tradition does it. We don't bring it so much into the practice here. But what we do is, for example, when I'm working with the children, we do a practice where we stretch up into Anshat Mudra, then Kailash, then at the forehead, at the throat, and at the chest. So we stretch the hands up into the Anjali where the hands are together over the head. Then coming down, and this is at each level of the chakras, the Sahasrara chakra, the Ajna chakra, Vishuddha and Anahata are brought into this. So when we do this, we do chants. For example, we breathe in and stretch up, and as we breathe out, Om Namah Shivaya. So you are moving with the chanting and stretching up as you breathe in, breathing out with the Om Namah Shivaya. Or you can use again chanting Om Guruve Sharanam, invoking the Guru Tattva. Om Guruve Sharanam, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Sharavana Bhava. All of these Panchakshara, Shadakshara, Ashtakshara can be used in these type of practices. Similarly, we do practices like the Surya Prana Mudra where we open the palms to the sun. So while doing this, we can often chant the traditional Gayatri as Om Bhuvasva Tat Savitu. So as you are doing the practice and opening up to the solar energy. So similarly, you can do the chants. It is not in all the practices, but in some of the practices, it's very useful. And then, of course, learning to chant. Our ashram, they have a special mantra chanting class every day with me. They learn practices like the Lingashtakam, the Dasa Sloki of Adi Shankara we use a lot, the Purusha Suktam, and then of course we go into the Yoga Sutras. I think the most important thing any yoga sadhaka should know is to chant the Yoga Sutra. Because when you chant it, it comes alive. Om Mada Yoga Nushasanam Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha Kada Dhrashtu Swarupe Avasthanam Vritti Sarupyam Mitaratva Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishta. Like that, if you learn to chant, the teachings become alive. When you chant, you are in the now. And that is why, see, when you study it, it's different. But when you chant it, you are in the now. The whole Maharishi Patanjali himself comes alive when you chant. So the Yoga Sutra chanting is very, very important, highly recommended. And of course, the Bhagavad Gita chanting and other things. People often think Bhagavad Gita is a religious scripture. I say this is again that, I told you history of mythology. Bhagavad Gita is a Yoga Shastra. It is a Yoga Shastra and they should never deviate from that thought. It is a pure Yoga Shastra.
Dr. Anandji, is it not that when you chant, the meter and the time will tell you, the rhythm in your actions and movements also become systematically timed, right? So the scaling is done, the frequency is kept. So it becomes layam with the music. That's what I was telling, the physic kayam plus the word, the mind, the buddhi and the sankalpa. More important could be the sankalpa is also important, right?
Very true.
Yeah, wonderful.
Especially in pranayama sadhana.
Yeah.
Pranayama sadhana, I often tell them instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you use the Shadakshara. Instead of counting 8, you use the Ashtakshara. Automatically, it becomes mantric in that way in the pranayama sadhana.
Even I keep saying when you hold water and say Gange Yamune Jaiva, how much time you have to hold that water is that chanting time.
Absolutely.
Because that time is good enough to understand this is the temperature of the water with which you are going to take a bath. The body understands it. So sometimes the scale was more of chantings. The scaling is what the chanting is. Each one will have their own frequency, get adjusted to that. Maybe you can change your chantings also. Good. So Sankalpa is more important. I think that is understood, then we know why we are chanting. Yeah.
In fact, Maharishi Patanjali, he tells us when we do the Om Japa, because for him the Pranava is Tasya Vachaka Pranava, it is the essence of the vibration of Ishvara. He says that Japa should be done with Tadartha Bhavanam. You should understand what you are chanting and have bhavana. So the head and the heart have to work together. The head has to know what is the meaning, the heart has to have feeling. So I say with meaning and feeling. We often in the Lingashtakam we say Bhavaya Bhakti Pravechita Lingam. Similarly, it should be there.
But today we keep saying don't learn by heart, but I keep saying learn by heart. Don't learn by heart, but learn by heart. If your heart is there, but most of the people, they don't have their heart. That's a problem. It's all blocked. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Namaste Guruji, I'm Vaishnavi from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
As TPS sir just now told about parents not, parents scripting the life of children. So, like our parents want us to do something, but we want to do something else. Then how do we make sure that we do what we want, but not hurt them? Like they're hurt by the decisions that we take. So how to balance what we want and how to not hurt them?
A beautiful question. Thank you for asking that, Vaishnavi, because often in the modern world, people say, I'm going to make my choice and I don't care if others are hurt by it. Now, that is a very modernistic approach that I am me, and this came from some of the books like Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged and all that me, that ahankar at the cost of everything else. Okay. Now, how I look at this is that we should be able to make our choice in such a way that the parents, initially they will be skeptical. Initially they will be skeptical because I told you, even if you are 75, your mother will still think of you as a baby. Okay, so this is part and parcel of being a parent, and you cannot wish it away. But how I look at it is, the choices I make in life, can I stand up for my choice? Because if today you make a choice and tomorrow you don't, you change it, and then day after you make a new choice, your parents are going to say, oh my God, I cannot trust her choice at all. But if you make a choice and you stand by it, come what may, ups and downs, and you stand by it, the parent automatically starts to say, yes, she is standing by her choice and knows what she is doing. And over time starts to become proud of your choice, because they start to see that you are steadfast in it. But I think the danger with young people, and I have dealt with thousands of them, so that is why I talk about them, and I still remember being a young person, is that our power of discernment, what is called viveka, is not yet in full power till we are about 18. I'll tell you that much. The prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain where the power of choice comes, is usually only developed in most people around 18 to 20, 21. And sometimes in many people it never develops. That's what it seems to be when you look at human beings on this planet. So the parent will question your choices. But if right from the beginning you say, this is my choice and I hold to it, the small choices, the big life choice will depend on the small choices you have made before that. You make some small choices, say, this week I'm going to do this. And you do it, and you do it well. The parent starts to become confident in you, and slowly with each small choice, they start to say, yes, Vaishnavi can hold to her choice and go through it. And then the bigger choice. So when you make the big choice, they have confidence in you. But if the child from day one, today I'm going to do this, then tomorrow they say, no, I'm going to do that, and then the next weekend is this, the parent says, this kid has no power of choice. And when you say, I'm going to make this big choice, they say, you have never stood by your choice. Today I will join you, I will spend all my money and put you in that course. And then after 6 months you say, I don't like it, my money will be lost, your 6 months will be lost. So I look at it from both the child's perspective and the parent's perspective. I think building trust is very important. So the parent needs to give freedom to the child. The child has to utilize that freedom with responsibility. Freedom doesn't mean the absence of responsibility. With freedom comes great responsibility. So when the parent gives the freedom and the child starts to use it in a responsible manner, the trust is built. And I have seen so many children who make characteristic choices, and the parents have gone along with it. And today they have stood up for it because of this. I have also seen children who just on the spurt of emotionality, when your emotions are volatile, you will make the wrong choice. When your emotions are volatile, you will make the wrong choice, because when your emotions are volatile, your prefrontal cortex will shut down. So what can you do at that time? Do 5 minutes of slow deep breathing. Do some nice Om Japa. Do some singing. Calm your emotions down. In school, when I was emotionally upset, I used to go to the music room, take my mridangam and play for 30 minutes. After that, I came out. I have dealt with my emotions. Now my head is clear. I can make a choice. The second thing I used to do, because I was a district level cricketer, take a cricket ball, put it in a sock and keep on hitting it like Rahul Dravid does. Again and again and again and again and again. Half an hour later, I've improved my cricketing skill and I've also cleared my head. So whenever you want to make a choice, take a deep breath. Let your emotions come down and then you make a clear choice and stand by it. Win the trust of your parents.
But Dr. Anandaji, neither they have song, no music, no cricket. When they wanted to make a choice, they are not able to make. What they get is a mobile phone in their hand, and what they have is TV in front of them. They'll just throw it and enjoy it. That is because most of the problem is because they themselves are not convinced. If I am sure Vaishnavi is convinced what she wanted to do totally, you can only see Mary Kom movie and find the way of going out in the way what you wanted to do. We have a lot of examples, but most of the children are wavering, and you are in the first counter in the buffet, and that is what the tastiest. You have not seen the rest of the items in the supply. I think you need lot of consultation, understand. I think nobody takes a decision in family also. It is between father and mother. You go to father, you know he supports you, then you take that as a chance and go and tell mother, father already supported, therefore why not you do that? You know when mother supports, you will go to them. Otherwise, you know mother's sister is there, you convince her and take a recommendation. So it is not, most of the time it is not your decision. You are finding somebody who will support me, take them to the, no, these are all actually, you have to spend yourself lot of time, understand and convince. That is what the responsibility. Convincing ourselves is the first responsibility we should have. That maturity is there, I am sure. If you are convinced, you can convince your parents. When you are not convinced, when they have a counter, definitely you will surrender to them. But then you say, yeah, they did not allow, and then you still suffer there. That is the problem. And most of the people want, but they don't have the basic skill. So how do you get into that? People don't have patience to learn. People wanted to become master first itself. These are all some small patience. Lot of items have to be learned. I think we should hear a lot. 2 years are given. That maturity is there. I am 100% sure you will be able to convince everybody. That Manimadishta Siddhigal, right? We have that ability to convince somebody else. So convincing self is most important. That needs little maturity, and that is what decision making ability. Wonderful.
Sir, I want to ask something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Namaskar, Swamiji. You said that your decision making always gives you a sense of responsibility. I come from a background where my parents never imposed anything on me. They gave me choices, they gave me exposure, and then said, choose it. And most of the time, I was right, they were besides me. But that sense of responsibility sometimes burdens you so much that absolute freedom sometimes becomes a burden to you. You are so much stuck in your own thought processes. How to overcome that?
That's a beautiful sharing. Thank you so much, Dr. Suchitra. You know, I think this is something I've often been asked in a different way. How I was asked is, you know, you have so much of stuff to live up to. You have parents like this, you have people who have been, you know, larger than life. one in a million father, one in a million mother, and then, how do you manage, and is it sure, and, you have to do it and all. And what I like to tell people is, if you realize how fortunate you are, and Adi Shankara says 3 things. He says, to have a human incarnation, Manushatvam, to desire the higher, Mumukshutvam, and then to have the company and the guidance of the wise. These are the 3 most blessed things we can have. So, once you realize how fortunate you are, the tension starts to go down a bit, because otherwise what is happening is we often think we are holding up the whole world. We think we are at last holding up the whole planet. And sometimes it is good for us to just move out of the way and see the planet still runs without me also. I think it's good to have a holiday once in a while, because you think without you everything will collapse. My father used to remind me as a child, whenever I had this type of thought, he said, Ananda, if you are not there, things will still go on. And they may go on even better than what you are doing. So never think you are the doer. I think the key here is 3 bhavanas that have been given by our great rishis. Narayana Bhava, Narayana Arpana Bhava, and Nimitta Bhava. Narayana Bhava is that whatever you are doing, it is the divine doing through you. Okay, I am not doing, it's the divine doing through me. So where is the pressure? The second, whatever I am doing is an offering to the divine. Narayana Arpana Bhava. So again, it is not me. Again, it automatically gives you a Nishkama Karma attitude. Automatically will come. So Narayana Arpana Bhava. And because you are doing it for the divine, you will do your best. You will not be lazy, and you will do it. Third, you are the tool for the divine to do. I think this is a great, great attitude to have in life, that it is not me, because when I say I am doing, I feel the pressure, and then I start to get bogged down. This is why I love teaching, because when I'm teaching, I'm not there. I love singing, because when I'm singing, I'm not there, so there's no pressure. But if you tell me to do accountancy and do my tax return, it is very, very tough for me, because I am really there and I'm doing it. And I think the key here is to just realize how fortunate we are, realize it is not us doing. And then once in a while, step back and let somebody else do. Even if they do it badly, don't worry about it. Even if they make it a mess, don't worry, because, it's important to have that. And delegation of responsibility. I am not good at it, but delegation of responsibility, I think, is the way forward. Because what happens otherwise is you will be sweeping the floor, opening the door, running the internet, broadcasting your series, plus you will also be the chairman of the institute. Sometimes it happens, during the lockdown, our people didn't come. Chairman of the institute, Dr. Ananda, is sweeping the floor also.
1 minute manager carries monkeys on his shoulders. Whenever there is a problem, don't worry, I will solve it. So every problem will be on you, and others will enjoy.
I think it's so important. Just delegate it and just realize that, every moment's a beautiful moment to live. And in that, automatically, the pressure will go away.
That is bliss.
Very nice answer. Thank you so much, sir.
Last question from Shailaja Menon. You got a chance. Otherwise, Dr. Anand without a doctor one song, without Anand one song, without you one song. Just Anandam, only the sound. Yeah.
I think the song is better than the question.
Yeah. Neeru has a question? Or maybe we are going to meet in the next week, next coming weeks. Neeru, Dr. Shuchita, Shailaja, Vaishnavi, many people are coming. We thought we will have for 27 days. Now we have at least 40 people on queue for talking. So it continues. We will flow through different thoughts, different processes. No format, no decision what we are going to do. It just goes like this. It's only a dialogue. So maybe we will end up with a nice song from you. Without that, it is not over. Bharata is not there. Bhava, Raga, Talam should be there.
Actually, I will like to share a song that came out of one of Ammaji's teachings in our summer camp. So Ammaji was teaching the children that it is only the human being who has the power of choice, and animals are bound by their conditioning. So the idea is animals are bound by their conditioning. Now there are animals who are domesticated and they start to become a bit more human than others. So we have had an ashram dog who chants Om. So so don't worry about it. Things change like that, the influence. But in general, so the idea is animals are bound by the conditioning, and so the animal nature says, I can't, I won't, I'm not able. This is the lower nature. Now you can, if I'm an animal lover, so you can say subhuman nature. Let's call it the subhuman nature says, I can't, I won't, I'm not able. But the human being, the higher nature who has the power of choice says, I can, I will, I am able. And this is the transformation we want to make in our life. Yeah. And so this is based on the first line. Suddenly I forgot the first line. Luckily, Devasena is there to remind me. Impossible becomes possible when we stop being animals and start being human beings. That is the phrase that Amma brought in. Impossible becomes I am possible. That splitting that I and M before it. Impossible becomes I am possible. Impossible becomes I am possible when we stop being animals and truly become human beings. Impossible becomes I am possible when we stop being animals and truly become human beings. Impossible becomes I am possible. I can't, I won't, I'm not able, says the animal. I can't, I won't, I'm not able, says the animal. I can, I will, I am able, says the human being. I can, I will, I am able, says the human being. Impossible becomes I am possible only when we stop being animals and truly become human beings. Impossible becomes I am possible. I can't, I won't, I'm not able. I can't, I won't, I'm not able, says the animal. I can't, I won't, I'm not able, says the animal. I can, I will, I am able, says the human being. I can, I will, I am able, says the human being. Impossible becomes I am possible. Impossible becomes I am possible only when we stop being animals and truly become human beings. Impossible becomes I am possible. 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 I am possible.
That's a great, wonderful message. I think that is why I said there is no doctor, there is no Anand. There is only messages. That message becomes more important. Most of the time that is what we should live. And once we live that I am not there, only messages will be there. And we become only the channel for those messages. And you have seen a real channel here. It's a real channel which brings us. It just flows. I know it's too short of a time. We could go on and on, but always we have another occasion. We will have many more days. I think this dialogue should continue. I was blessed to be in contact. It's only less than a month we are in touch. It's only less than a month we are in touch. So good, I am blessed. I was there in Arunachalam last year, and we were planning to come to Puducherry, but we couldn't make it. The 3 days, 4 days went on, 5 days, 6 days. So we have to rush back. So I'm sure we will have some physical camp when I keep saying anything question today, when it will happen, COVID Anandaram. Only one answer for all questions. COVID Anandaram. We will have Jaipur Shuchita will be there. Vaishnavi from Hyderabad will be there. We all will come to Puducherry.
We will be here. Privileged to have all of you here, and we have a gala camp.
Yeah, we can only say possible, right? So if we say we will come,
I am possible.
yeah, we will come, then we are human being. If you say not possible, if somebody says let me try, I say you are becoming neither human nor an animal. One word which I don't like is I will try. I said write it, guaranteed you are not going to do it. That's what I keep saying. So the try word is out of my dictionary. I will come, that's it. No, I shall come also.
So,
Good. So what is your takeaway? I am seeing in the sequence Neeru, next Shailaja. What is your takeaway today? One word, one sentence.
Be human.
Neeru, what is your takeaway today?
I'm able, I'm possible.
Shailaja.
I mean, I always like the message of our Swadharma, teaching the children about not comparing themselves, that each of us, have our own journey. And I think that is so empowering, because otherwise we just feel so bad. We're always comparing, always unhappy. So once we have a sense of our own life, our own purpose, then I think it's just really, even I have kids class here in Malaysia, and I tell the kids the same thing, just focus on your own strengths. Everybody has different strengths, so don't end up comparing. Sometimes body structure also, some children can do some poses better, then other children look and feel bad. So always say, everybody has their own strength, and you just focus on your strength.
Paradharmam bhayavaham. Antonio.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a mute. Hope you can hear me. I would say thanks for this wonderful section. It was really something where we can find the sense of family, sharing our thoughts and sharing our feelings. So I know Dr. Ananda is my guru, is my teacher, is my friend, and I am really lucky and really grateful to meet this Paramparaya and join and to be adopted in this family. And I'm very, very proud of that. And I would say that Yama and Yama are really the fundamental of yoga. I'm practicing yoga since almost 30 years, but now I joined and I start to understand the power that is in all of us when we start to be human and to start to use this part of our body and just to share our feelings, our love, and take care of the rest of the planet or the rest of the universe. And considering that this is in us and we are just a tool of the divine. So when we got this consciousness, so we can change our life, and it's very, very different the conception of our life. So I'm so grateful for this section, and I would say thanks all.
We have somebody from India who stepped only the first step of Ashtanga, Yama, non-violence, and he became the world famous. That is Mahatma Gandhi. So one step firm is good enough sometimes. Having more steps is dangerous. Yeah. Nila, you have something to add? I'm just calling the names when the display, whoever comes, whoever shifts here and there, so whoever is in nearby. Anybody could unmute and then speak.
Sir,
Yeah.
I feel blessed, sir, to just be here. And my takeaway is I should believe in me. And I should believe I have a purpose to live.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rishika has to say something. Rishika came and appeared and went. Rishika is from Abu Dhabi. Good enough?
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for your messages, sir, and I believe that I am possible.
I am possible.
Thank you so much.
Good. So keep singing. We will post this on YouTube. So you can take the same raga and then start practicing. Rishika and all used to come and stay in my village, in my hermitage there, and we used to have 10 days. One summer I went there in Abu Dhabi and conducted a 1 month program for 150 children. We have got Ramayana also in English. I'll share it sometime if do you know that? Yeah, I'll share it. DrTPS Ramayana English. I am sure you can chant much better. It's only translation from me. I translate into Telugu, sometime into different languages. All the prime ministers I write. For these children, that's the best method. I'm sure the songs make them to remember things and then, no. Otherwise, if I tell Ramayana story, I was conducting camp in Columbus, India now. So I'm sure if I tell Ramayana, Ramatapopana Adhikamanam, nothing will go inside them. So I translate it whole into English and then post it. I well accepted. One half an hour is good enough for them to learn. So sometimes it makes, English is not important. The bhavana and the sankalpam is important. So that's why I said we see a agglomeration of the modern and the old. That is where I think we share more, right? So I'm sure we will have more opportunities to hear. Lakshmi Prasad garu, మేము చెప్పాలంటే చెప్పొచ్చు, ఆయనకు అన్ని భాషలు కూడా వస్తుంది. From Gundur, yeah. Good enough? We'll call it a day then. Generally we stop exactly at 8:30. We have crossed 27 minutes more today. Because I know for some people the time scale doesn't change. I keep saying we are not on 21st century. We are on third decade of 21st century for some people. For some people 21st century is good enough. For youngsters, no, centuries are very long for them. So we need shorter time. So scale depends on the people who look at it, right? Those who are here today, you could connect and then join the coming days. Either on Facebook, you can search DrTPS and connect me to, or send a WhatsApp. We will put you onto the broadcast list so that you get messages and link. Most of the days we are continuing the same link until we get some disturbance, because this is a world where people can come and disturb. It also happens sometimes. So then we will change the link and then post it. That's the only reason we want contacts, otherwise no need. Okay, so see you soon. Thank you. God bless you. Inshallah. Any more languages? I'm sure he will have many more languages to say.
Normally I start off with Dhanyavadaha, Shukriya, then I go on to Danke, Mercy, Grazia, Gratias, and then we end up with Nandri Vanakkam. That's usually where we end normally.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. God bless you. It was a great day.
Thank you, Swami.
Thank you. Shubhrat.